So, Nick, I wanted to ask you first, what attracted you about Drive Angry?
Well, the character of Milton was a mystery to me. He is a living dead man. And I just love saying that, living dead man. And what that implied to me was a chance to go into dimensions of physicality and mystery that I had not approached before. I wanted him to be a character that was kind of like a ghost, something that would raise more questions than answers, something that would make you ask, what was I thinking? Uh, and also working with Patrick Lussier, he was somebody that I felt had a vision, had a bold vision. He wasn't afraid to make the movie R instead of PG-13, and whatever that cost in terms of box office dollars, whatever we left on the table, he was going to make his movie the way he wanted to make it, and I admired that about him. It was a chance for me to live one of my fantasies of embracing the sort of iconic 1970s anti-heroes of Charles Bronson and Clint Eastwood, and then putting in a cult spin on it, and then on top of that, doing it in 3D, which to me was a little historic.
It's a pretty unique film. What did you think of the script when you read it?
I mean, it made me uncomfortable. I mean, and I was at a point in my career where I thought anything that makes me uncomfortable is exactly what I should be doing. If it makes me uncomfortable, then that means I have to really think about it. And I thought that it was going to be a challenge. Once again, it gave me an opportunity to explore the supernatural, which to me, anytime I can do something in horror or science fiction, I'm going to go for it, because I believe that film actors have just as much right to be avant-garde as musicians or poets or painters. And one of the only ways I can do that and still connect with audiences is supernatural or horror or sci-fi.
You refer to your character as a dead living man, which is exactly what he is. But he comes across this person, Piper. How does that relationship work?
When he sees her and he knows immediately that this is the right girl to help him on his mission, because he has other things at work besides just revenge. He has other needs. Amber's character embodies a kind of very tough, brave young lady with a heart of gold, and he knows that she could be kind of like a surrogate daughter. There's a familial affection that starts to bond between Milton and Piper. Not a romantic one, a familial one, and you can see where he needs her to help him with the end of the movie, and I don't want to give that away.
But I think she's great in her role. What would she like to work with?
She was great. I mean, I consider Amber a friend. I mean, she's somebody that is original. She moves well. I like watching her work with the camera. She's very gutsy. She's in no way a victim and in no way a damsel in distress. I think she's the heart of the movie.
And then you have this mysterious character, without giving away too much, known as the accountant, but who has an important role in the movie.
Yeah. I mean, look, I was blessed with an amazing cast to work with. William Fichtner is outstanding in that part. He's like we all came to it with different energies. I mean, he was more, whereas I was trying to play it more like a ghost, a wraith. He was more like this kind of like impish, elfish kind of demonic force. And then we have Billy Burke, who was both scary and hilarious in his portrayal of this like Jim Jones man who was in love with his own ego in his mind. But and then we had great supporting characters. Joe Crest. He has my favorite line in the movie at the end when he's like, "We are going to live forever," and I've been laughing about it ever since. That one line, his commitment to it. I mean, I just love him in the movie.
You referred to Patrick as a visionary. What is he like on set?
Great. He's so collaborative, easy to work with, calm, pleasant, never raises his temper. He's a gentleman and a scholar. I mean, he's somebody you want to work with.
And it must have been fun to drive those cars, Nicolas.
Oh, yeah. No, I love those cars. I mean, I like the '69 Chevelle. That was a personal favorite of mine. I used to drive one in my own life. And when I saw that they were going to use one in Drive Angry, I became very excited because the car is aesthetic and it's also a good driver. It's a very responsive car. I'm clearly a fan of that one, even over the Dodge Charger.
And you got to do a lot of your own stunts. I know that because I was there. And
Yeah, oh yeah, yeah. Well, when I have a chance to drive fast and not get a speeding ticket, I'll take it.
Tell me, what was it like in Shreveport, in Louisiana, shooting over there?
Shreveport is a great place. You know, Shreveport and Louisiana in general is a terrific place to make a movie because the people are so friendly. It is so relaxed. It's great for family. There's some lovely kind of boutique comic book stores and little shops that you can go to, and it's you know, and for someone like me, it's lovely. I mean, I don't have to think about, you know, cameras and things like that. I can just sort of be myself, and I really enjoyed it.
I think the 3D really works for this movie. What can you say of the experience of shooting this movie in 3D?
The first week I was like a kid in a candy shop. I mean, I wanted to try everything. I was sticking my tongue out. I was punching the camera, doing whatever I could do to get my body into the fourth or fifth row of the audience, whatever I could do. And then by the time the second week came around, I kind of relaxed into it, and I realized it wasn't going to be much different than any other movie I've made. And that's a credit to Patrick Lussier because he really has sorted out all the hiccups with 3D cameras. He's a maestro of it. He's a pioneer of the new wave of 3D and knows where to put the camera so it doesn't blow out the effect. And he was very efficient and very effective.
And then you have, as a result, a movie with a really cool look to it. How would you describe the look of the movie?
Artistic. One of my favorite sequences is a flashback sequence where my character, Milton, is remembering what Jonah did to my daughter. And I call it like a 3D collage. I've never seen it before in any other film. What Patrick did with the overlays of the moon and Billy Burke's face, and then my face, and then my daughter, and then the memory of what happened, all happening at the simultaneously. It was different than traditional linear split screen. It was on top of one another, and that was a first. You know, I've never seen that before in a movie.
Then you finally see the movie completed. What did you think?
I liked it. I mean, it was a fun ride. I mean, it was a movie that didn't take itself seriously. It was a movie that was completely embraced the sort of black comedy absurdity of the tone. And then, like 3D, it had another dimension underneath it in terms of performance. I mean, all these actors were top-level actors, and there was a heart to it as well, like an emotional content. So I was very happy with the results.
Films that are fun to watch are not always fun to make, but it seems like you had a really good time on this one.
Well, you have to. I mean, you know, I mean, sometimes some movies have to be a different energy on the set, I suppose, but by and large, if you can have fun while you're making the movie, then it'll be fun for the audience.
You mentioned the movie doesn't take itself too seriously. Do you think, Nicolas, it's important to not take oneself too seriously?
I mean, I am a serious man, and I think there's nothing wrong with that. Most people won't admit that. But I think when you make film, when you make a movie that is trying to be a celebration of the B movie, if you will, that is trying to be bold and politically incorrect, you have to do it in a way that doesn't take itself seriously. Otherwise, it's going to lose the charm of it. This movie has to be amusing. It has to be humorous. It has to be fun and funny. And I think that's what it does. That's what it achieves.
And I also think it's a movie that people will love all over the world. I mean, because it takes place somewhere, but it could be anywhere. It's just a fun ride, really.
Yeah, exactly, and that's the spirit of it. I want people to go to this movie and have fun with it, and possibly be seduced into drinking beer out of skulls.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.